That's just how I roll. And especially during this time, it's like, who needs pants?
Yeah.
Habersham.
Habersham.
It's a very old English last name.
All right.
But if you're from Georgia, you say Habersham.
And Andrew's from West Virginia.
Yeah, so that explains why I wanted to pronounce it Habersham.
For people that know that I get it how I live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, even hanging out over here in Texas in my underwear and a nice collared shirt, I'm still delivering the motto every single day.
There you go.
Welcome back to the Suddenly Seeking Spirit podcast. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Andrea. And on today's episode, we have a special guest, Dimario Habersham. And he is the founder of the oneminutemoto.com. And he's also a dear friend of mine from Spirit Junkie. And as you guys know, Andrew is also a dear friend of mine from Spirit Junkie, but they've never met.
We all flocked together at some point.
That's right. Exactly. The spirits bring us all together.
Yep.
Yes. So, we wanted to kind of focus today on how to stay positive in times of adversity. Deep.
Our listeners are like, oh, shit.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Here's the deal, guys. You're talking to three pretty positive cats. And we are pretty good at making things fun. And you can tell by Demario laughing at me that we all laugh a lot. So it's all cool, right?
Yeah.
So we won't get too deep.
No, we won't.
But Demario, I was hoping you would share a little bit about your journey with us.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Southern Georgia. Spent the first 18 years of my life there before I ventured out into the world. Spent several years in college, but did not complete my undergraduate degree. And I decided at that time I was really kind of bored with school and the humdrum routine of life. And so I decided to join the Army. And, and I've been rocking it out in the Army for the past 18 years. I've had a wonderful career. I've met so many wonderful people, many of whom have become my very, very close friends. And at the present, I am getting ready to transition out of the Army and continue on the next journey or the next chapter of my life. I had this very transcendental experience, and I recall, and I won't go into too many of the details, but I recall during that time being connected to something or someone much greater than myself. And I received these instructions, and I will never forget this for the rest of my life. And this occurred on 1 July of 2019. And the first message was, this character who you created has to die in order, not a literal death, but figuratively, right? Has to die in order to birth the person who you are. And then the follow-on instruction was, and this will be as difficult or as easy as you make it.
Yeah. So did you make it difficult?
Yeah. I did not.
Good. I made it difficult. No. I got a similar message. You're dropping the ego, and the real Demario is coming through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, we get
I'm
that.
having the time of my life.
That's the whole premise of our podcast is the spiritual awakening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much fun. I've never been more curious and excited about
Ooh.
my own life and
Mm.
about the lives of, those around me and our broader environment. I've never been as curious as I am now. It's like, and I hate to sound cliche-ish, but
Yeah.
it really is a whole nother aspect of the world.
Yeah.
This very this very broad portal that's been opened, right? That I
Right.
get to kind of explore and play around in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that it's that inner child coming back out and seeing the world now through the adult Demario, but inside it's that child that
Yes.
that eagerness, the excitedness to get out, enjoy the world, to make connections with people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is that many of us, and I know I certainly didn't realize this, but many of us, we don't acknowledge that this is there. Like, it's clearly in our faces, but because we're so wrapped up in our egos and in our thoughts, like, we miss all of this majestic beauty that
Yeah.
surrounds us,
Yeah.
And
100%. Yeah.
and how we all just love to really think that we're so special, but at the end of the day, we all are experiencing the same things on different degrees, but we're having the same thoughts and reactions to things.
Yeah.
So have a platform like you have with your 1 minute motto of showing people, like showing up for people, that's the first thing. You're showing up for people, which is great to see, but then providing them with quick information that unknowingly to them may not set in until later in the day, where they're like, oh yeah, okay, now I can do this because this is what was presented to me in the day.
Right. You're planting seeds.
You're planting the
Yes.
seeds.
And I will clarify for people who may find the concepts about which we're speaking a little challenging, right?
Yeah.
This power is not anything out here. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's in the ether to which we do not have access to. It is within us and around us, right? We have to choose. We have to make a very deliberate and intentional choice to experience it. You know, some of us, we will willingly do that. Others, like you and me, Andrea, for example, right? We have it thrust upon us, and it is like, you have a decision to make, right? And either you're going to, accept it and move forward, or you're going to spend your time wasting energy attempting to avoid the journey, avoid the process, right?
And I did that for 40 years. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hell, I mean, I'm there with you. Like, I was crazy for, the first 41 years of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say that quite literally, because I was like, seriously, I was crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I pretended to have it together, but on the inside, I was a hot mess. Hot, functional mess. You hear me?
Yeah.
Call it out.
Exactly. Call it out. Call it for what it is, right? But many of us, we are in that space, right? We're in our heads, we're in our thoughts, we're in our egos. And it is really our own actions, our own attitudes that prevent us from really remaining positive through times of adversity. Because what we've allowed our ego to train us to do is to focus on anything and everything that is not right in our lives, right? And so that's where our thoughts go. Those are the words that we speak. We think about and we speak about those things that are not going well in our lives, rather than focusing on that which is really well and right in our lives. I mean, simple example. you know, we woke up and we have the ability to breathe. You know, you ask someone who's had like a severe sinus infection, or, you know, some other type of nasal congestion, for example, right? When their ability to breathe is impeded, freaking miserable. And you ask them after the fact, you know, once everything is cleared, you know, you ask them, how's it feel to take a breath of a fresh air unobstructed? And they are just, I know, and I can speak from my own experience, folks are just extremely happy, extremely happy, because then, you know, during the time we were going through that adverse or challenging situation, we understood what it was like to not have full access to something that many of us take for granted every single day, which is our breath.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a great way of looking at, like, something negative happening. Just think of it as the contrast of the healthy thing that you desire. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. If we come out of a situation the same way we went in, then it there's really no benefit to it, you know. Yeah, exactly. But you know, here's the thing. I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna rewind for just a minute.
If you go off, I'll just redirect you back. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, because I don't want to get off into that tangent, right? But here's the message I want people to know about our current situation, is that adversity does not enter our lives to debilitate us, right? To increase suffering, right? The adversity really comes into our lives to teach us the lessons of, you know, how we can overcome, how we can be more bold and more confident in the face of adversity. But what happens is, you know, the ego looks at adversity and immediately wants to wave that white flag of surrender. Well, there's nothing I can do about this. It's out of my control, out of my influence. And what the message that I choose to relate this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, is that it is our reaction to, it is our attitude, you know, towards the event, towards the thing, that is going to keep us positive during the storm. Right. So we really need to learn to be grateful for the adversity that we experience in our lives, because it is only through those challenges that we learn the lessons required for us to grow. You know, our attitudes, our behaviors, our approach to living. It's really just a matter of reconditioning those things to align to spirit, which I define as love.
Yeah, I like it.